All right, we are sitting here with Paul Marino. Paul, can you tell everybody where you're from and what shop you work at?
I'm originally from Colorado, born and raised, but in 2009 I moved to Philly, and I work at the incredible Seance Tattoo Parlor in Ben Salem, PA.
How'd you end up coming to Philly?
My wife, believe it or not. Her and I met a long time ago on a funny thing called MySpace, and then just was talking and long story short, she got me out here. And I knew the tattoo scene out here was so great. I had just started tattooing back home. I was in like my first year tattooing. So I knew the tattoo scene out here was so awesome. So it was like no question for me. I was like, yeah, let's go.
So you work at Seance Tattoo Parlor with Paul Acker. Who else works at the shop along with you?
So it's Paul Acker, Buzz Hassan, Tim Schneider, my apprentice Matthew Greskowitz, Cody Nyman, and Danny Lepore.
Okay, nice. So how did Paul get you to move out here from Philadelphia?
You know, I kind of always wanted to work with Paul. It was kind of always a dream of mine to work where he was, because I was drooling over his work when I lived back home. So when I moved out here, I worked at various shops, and he didn't really have to get me. I mean, once I heard that he was opening this place and he had room, I like hit him up and I was like, yo, tell me you have room at the new shop that you're building, because I would love to come over. And he was like, absolutely. So
did you know Paul when he worked at Deep Six?
I did. I knew him. I had met him through other people, and it was kind of one of those, like, we knew each other. I didn't really spend too much time around him, but I just knew that I always wanted to work with the guy, you know. Yeah,
that makes sense. Your uncle got you into tattooing?
Yeah.
Can you talk about how that happened?
Yeah, tattooing was always in my family. I grew up around it. But my uncle always lived in Chicago. I lived in Colorado. But my whole family on my mom's side is tattooed, like my grandma's tattooed and everything. So it was always something I was around. And from an early age, I just completely fell in love with it. And it kind of started, long story short, at a family reunion. He was tattooing people, like my family members, in the basement. And I just saw it and I was like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. And I need to do that.
When did you start tattooing?
I started tattooing when I was 19. So 2006, I was out of my apprenticeship.
Okay. So your work shows a nice blend of illustrative and realism style tattoos. You do them actually pretty well together.
Thank you.
If you were going to just drop one and just stick with one, would you rather enjoy doing illustrative or rather stick with the realism?
Man, you know, I love doing both, but I feel like if I had to pick, I would probably lean more towards like the illustrative, because I feel like you could still get realism aspects in illustrative, but be able to have more fun with it. Whereas realism is like a lot of times you have to stay by the book to make it, you know, have that certain look to it.
So on Instagram, I know we were talking about this off camera, and I'm sure that you and Paul deal with it quite a bit.
Yeah.
But there's been a lot of discussion lately in regards to photoshopping, editing Instagram posts or Instagram videos to make your tattoos seem more vibrant, more better looking than they actually are.
Yeah.
After you're done with a tattoo, obviously you do a photo shoot probably?
You know, luckily the lighting in here, it's pretty dark. So we don't have a lot of combating light to deal with. So we end up getting pretty vibrant photos as it is, because we just have our lamps over it. I don't even know really how to work Photoshop. So,
well, I mean, Instagram has it built into it. How do you deal with it when people accuse you of editing your tattoo videos?
I've had it a couple times. And a lot of times, you know, I don't get involved in just kind of banter back and forth on Instagram. It's stupid. But a lot of times, there's been a couple of times where someone's, you know, made a comment and I'm like, all right, well, I'm just letting you know it's not. You know, I don't.
There's no way to prove it.
There's no way to prove it unless you see it in person. But it's funny because I've had some clients that have come to get tattooed by me, and they've admitted, like, I saw your work. They're like, what was drawing me to you was I saw your work and I was on Instagram and they're like, that's been edited, but then they saw it in person and they're like, wow. So, you know, everyone up there is the real deal, and then they came to me to get tattooed. So it's kind of more flattering than anything. You know, I don't get upset if someone accuses me of editing my photos. It's more like, I mean, I guess I'm doing something right. Yeah. You know, if you think it's not real, I don't.
Is there? I mean, so scrolling through your Instagram, you've seen a major progression in your tattoos over the years. Is there anything you can attribute that to?
Just being surrounded by the right people. you know.
Much artists.
Yeah, and every day, you know, I don't really like anything that I do. I'm just one of those. So every day I'm just constantly trying to be better and better and better just to keep up. Because nowadays I feel like it's just a keep up game rather than, you know what I mean, than anything else. Now that social media, it's everybody's out there.
Do you keep a personal Instagram page away from your tattoo Instagram
I don't.
page?
If you know what's funny is if I didn't have an Instagram for business, I probably wouldn't have one at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty old school when it comes to just like life in general. You know, I don't really put much out there. I don't have a Twitter. I have a Facebook that I barely ever use. Yeah. You know, so Instagram is such a great tool for business. But outside of that, like every once in a while I'll post something with my family. Like if I take my kids on a vacation, I'll like, hey, we're out here having fun. But like other than that, it's
a fine line.
Yeah.
With artists who post a lot of their non-tattoo.
Right.
Sometimes they get some negative feedback of, you know, we want to see just tattoos from you.
Yeah, I don't understand that either. I mean, if people enjoy putting their life out there,
like the entire person.
Yeah, and they want to be proud of that, by all means. I'm just not that. I don't. You know, I work and I spend time with my family. Like I don't feel like
much time on Instagram outside of the posting your work.
I try to stay off as much as I can. Yeah. You know, I try to reply to everybody as much as I can, but like it's so easy to get sucked into that social media hole, and especially when I have like a family at home, I don't want to sit on my phone all day and all night, you know what I mean? So there's times I got to put the phone down.
I definitely understand. With running Tattoo Snob, we are both on our phones constantly looking
it's hard.
for posts, and the amount of, I'm sure you have it too, the amount of DMs that you get, it's impossible to keep up with.
Yeah, I try to respond to as many as I can. But like I said, you know, I have to designate some time to like doing the social media thing, but also like just live.
Yeah,
you know.
Definitely. Outside of tattoos, you do a bit of painting. Do you paint in a similar style as you're tattooing?
Pretty much, yeah. Nouveau is my favorite, and I love painting in that style. I love drawing in that style. So I'm always just trying to like, you know, kind of do that style, but put my own twist on it maybe, and try to experiment in different ways, and just kind of do something that is not overdone, but like, I don't know. It's hard to explain.
So you started tattooing in 2006 range. Over the last 13 years, how have you noticed the tattoo industry changing?
It's huge now. I mean, it always was big, but it's social media again. You know, now that everybody's out there, and it's not just trying to get your stuff in a magazine, and like even MySpace. Like when I started tattooing, I feel like it was right when social media started, because all there really was for like a social media platform was MySpace when I started, and Facebook was still like for college kids, you know, like you couldn't even really use that. So now that it's like with Instagram and Snapchat and Twitter and all that, it's just like it's so broad now, and it's just more of a race, I feel. You know, everybody's, instead of like competing with just the people in your town, now you're competing with everybody across the world.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But it can be a good thing, because it just makes you want to strive to be better and meet great people. Like if it wasn't for social media, I wouldn't know half the people that I know now, you know, so it's...
Yeah, I mean, with the magazine era, if you didn't know the right people, or if they just weren't crazy with your work, you were never going to get into a magazine.
Right.
And so now with Instagram, it's so much easier to... I mean, we come across artists every day that we are not familiar with. And,
right.
Next thing you know, they're on our feed on a regular basis.
Right, and that's the cool thing about it too, is there's artists that deserve, they're so good, but they're not, it's just, sometimes it's hard for people to get that recognition because there's so many people out there. So I feel like social media is like a good tool for that, where people, it's like a platform to get their stuff out there, you know.
Oh, I agree. So that's been within the last 13 years.
Yeah.
Over the next 13 to 15 years, where would you like to see the industry go?
I mean, I guess it depends on how you look at it. You know, there's a lot of people that view, you know, the way social media is going and all that as a negative thing. A lot of people view it as a positive thing. I guess there's really no way to tell where it's going to go, but I would just like to see just more positivity, you know, instead of, it's so easy to hate and hate and hate and hate, you know. So I prefer people like, you know, tattooing's so great when it's a community and you go to a convention and, yo, what's up, dude? I haven't seen you in forever, and like all this stuff. I just love to see more of that and more camaraderie. And you know, we all do the same thing. We all come to work and tattoo all day, and we go home, and you know, you know, I just love to see more building it up rather than trying to trash people, you know.
No, I totally follow you. So you do a bit of traveling, like everybody else does. Do you have any favorite cities, shops, or conventions to attend to?
You know, it's funny. I haven't traveled as much as I should. You know, for like the first 3/4 of my career, I didn't really travel much. You know, I didn't go anywhere. I just kind of like bunkered down and just tried to tattoo as much as I could and get as, you know, as good as I could. And as of late, I've been traveling a lot more. Canada's like really fun. Like that, Toronto's like one of my favorite spots. We're gonna be there twice this year.
For the show?
We're going for the next show, and then we're going out again in September. Okay. I love, everybody there is so cool. It's such a cool place. But I'm trying to get more out there, so I haven't been that many places to have like a favorite. I just love going anywhere because anywhere is new, you know.
I've always heard the Nick show is a really good show.
That was a fun show. Last year was the first year I did it, and there was so many great people there, and it was a lot of fun, and I'm excited to do it again.
I need to make it up to that show sometime.
It's good.
We've heard you're very passionate about dogs, specifically pit bulls. Can you share a little bit of information about that?
Yeah, where I'm from, there's still a BSL ban, so pit bulls are still banned in Denver. So growing up, all I knew was the negativity about them, and then when I moved here, long story short, a friend of mine got me involved in it, and I was volunteering at shelters and really opened my eyes to the breed and just how incredible they are. And the part for me is just how much they need a voice. You know, when you see a certain breed that's just beaten down and discriminated against so hard, for me it was like no question why I'm going to do what I do and get passionate about it. You know, it's just.
How many do you have?
I have 2 right now. Yeah, they're actually brother and sister.
That's good.
So they're a bonded pair, so they can't be separated.
No, that makes sense. Outside of tattooing and pit bulls, what do you do with your spare time?
Family.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny, really the only thing I do outside of like home life is a bunch of us here, we go paintballing once a month. As like a,
team
you know, yeah, and it's fun. But otherwise, it's just spending time with my kids. I got 2 kids and my wife, and just try to spend as much time with them as I can, you know. So
there is a coffin behind you with a skeleton in it?
Yeah.
Can you talk, and then Michael Myers mask?
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Anybody that's been in the shop there's a lot of oddities in here. Yeah, it's kind of
it's a very dark shop.
Yeah, yeah, but it's cool. And everything in here is pretty much real. Every animal and skull, it's all real. This coffin is from like the 1950s. It's a flat top. They don't make them anymore, so who knows how old it is. I'm convinced it was used.
Yeah.
There's screw holes in it, you know, but yeah. She kind of watches over.
And you guys have a movie theater?
Yeah, we have our own movie theater, which is pretty dope.
How often do you guys just all sit down and watch a movie together?
Well, we're in there every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting, you know, we draw our appointments, get ready for the day in the movie theater, and
you guys just have movies going on?
There's always something on, yeah.
I'm sure it's a great place for clients just to go and sit during the downtime.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, we try to, you know, we don't want people in and out.
Yeah.
You know, but like, yeah, Paul's a big movie buff. I'm a big movie buff, so it just works out perfectly. It's such a cool like addition to the shop, you know.
What's your favorite horror series?
Oh man, I have so many. One of my favorite horror movies of all time is The Thing. Kurt Russell's The Thing. John Carpenter is such a great, you know, filmmaker, and I think that was the first movie that I saw when I was a kid that I was like messed me up, you know. So it was just always one of my favorites. But I have so many favorite movies in different genres. I can't have just one.
So if anybody's interested in Tattooed by You,
yeah.
How do they reach out to you?
We do everything through the shop website. So on seancetattoo.com, you'll see a tab that says appointments. If you click on that, it takes 2 minutes to fill everything out. And then it runs to Nikki, who is our sales girl. She handles everybody's appointments, everybody's schedule. She's on top of it. She's like the best person in the shop. She handles all of our bullshit.
How long are you booking out for typically?
You know, I think I only physically book like a few months at a time with traveling and all. But I think, you know, we have a waiting list. I think I'm up to like 1.5 years.
Okay.
But I'm trying to like minimize that as much as I can, you know, and try to get things done so I can take on new clients. So,
I mean, when somebody emails you, how much direction do you prefer to have from them?
You know, it's funny because like,
fine line.
Yeah, because like the more direction to try to give you. It's like, well, you're not giving me much freedom, but then I need to know like where you're at so we're on the same page. Just, you know, I can work with vague ideas, but I can also work with, if you have a specific idea, you know, it really just depends.
I mean, sometimes when you email an artist and you say, do whatever you want,
yeah,
a lot of people don't actually mean to do whatever they want.
You get that sometimes, like, do what you want, and you're like, all right, dope, and you show them this design, and they're like, well, maybe not that. And it's like,
mean that. Yeah.
Yeah, that happens.
So, I mean, do you take Instagram DMs, or do you just direct everybody towards the website?
You know, usually I try to get the idea first. If someone, you know, you can always kind of tell if someone's real serious or not based on how they ask for a tattoo during a DM. But if someone's serious, I'm like, well, what are you trying to get done? That way I don't want to direct you to the website if it's something I'm not really going to be into or not. So, but if it's something I'm into, then I'll direct you to the website.
Okay. So we're going to wrap up here. What's the website name?
SeanceTattoo.com.
Okay. What's your Instagram name?
My Instagram handle is paulmarino917.
And do you have any plans for what are your plans for 2019?
Just traveling more, and then just trying to tattoo as much as I can, like I do every year, and keep up.
Cool. Well, we appreciate you taking the time to sit down.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Fans of your work.
Thank you.
I mean, you're one of the people that we love seeing work from.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. All right, cool. Thank you.
All right.